Okay, so earlier we saw that cotter pin is something which is going to fail in bending. Okay, we have already designed it considering the shear failure, and now that we have got all the dimensions, it is a time for us to check whether it will fail in bending stress or not. So we have just now seen from where the bending stress comes and what happens. Because of this clearance, it has got a scope to bend. Some space is available to bend, so it might bend, and that is what we don't want to happen. So what is a bending stress? Before we do that, just one simple example of what we already know before. So imagine that this is a beam, simply supported beam. This is a beam supported at these two places, and then if you apply a load here like this P, then as you know there is going to be a bending stress that is developed here. Okay, now that bending stress is given by what? As you have already known earlier, moment. We have written this formula earlier, M upon I equal to F upon Y, where this F is the bending stress. It is maybe tensile bending stress right here. And then when you bring Y here, it becomes M upon I by Y is equal to Ft bending. So moment upon this parameter is equal to bending stress, and this bending stress we want to be equal to less than the design stress, design tensile stress. Bending stress is not anything new, it is just tensile stress only. The only thing is the value of tensile stress, what is induced, this should be less than the design stress, which is already given to us as 80 megapascals. So we have to find out M. We have to divide this M by this factor I upon Y, which is also called as Z. M upon Z. Z is section modulus, where Z is equal to I upon Y. Something from strength of materials, which we have already done earlier. So that's why I said just go back and revise whatever was learned earlier, because that is all what we are going to require again here. So coming back to this exercise, in this case the beam is going to bend, and when it bends, what is the amount of moment that is acting on this beam? That is what we have to find out. So suppose the span of this beam is L, this length is L, then first thing is the support is having a force here. That means the load at the support. If you are applying P here, then the support reactions are P by 2 and P by 2. So under the action of P by 2, what is the bending moment here? So you must have drawn sometimes back a bending moment diagram, something like this. So here the moment is M, this is a maximum moment, and at any other point, suppose you want to find out moment here, it will be this. But here it is maximum, and how much is this maximum bending moment? This is going to be equal to force into this distance. So M here, maximum M is equal to P by 2, that is the force, multiplied by this distance, which is L by 2. So it is PL by 4. I write here P into L by 4. P into L by 4, that is the maximum bending moment that is acting at this point. So it is like saying that suppose it's a beam, okay, it is a cantilever basically, it is hanging like this, okay, this distance is something x, and if you apply force P here, then this P into x, that is the amount of moment that is acting. So same thing is here, P by 2 is the force, x, L by 2 is the distance, so P by 2 into L by 2, that is the moment acting here, which is the maximum bending moment, and that is what is taken here. That divided by the section modulus of this particular section, that is going to give you the stress, which should be less than the design tensile stress. So this is what we are now going to apply to this particular cotter pin. Now from where this force comes, from where this force comes, that is what is to be thought of. So let me first draw this cotter. So I draw this cotter, then somewhere here and here it is in contact. I'll just show like this. So between these two parts, this and this, it is in contact with the socket. So this is here, it is in contact with socket, and on this side here, exactly here, it is in contact with the spigot. correct? It is in contact with spigot here, and it is like this. It is in contact with spigot here, and it is in contact with the socket at these two places, here and here. Okay, and now we are going to apply a load. So that load, when you apply, first thing what we do is, there is a center line here. There is a center line here. So let us consider only half side. Only half side. So now I am going to draw this figure just as a line diagram. So this is a quarter, but drawn just like a line, not the whole shape. Only line is drawn. So up to here and up to here on one side, and it is on this side. So contact with the socket and contact with the spigot. Now since the total load is P, on half side what is applied here is P by 2. Now this P by 2, where it is applied, that is what is to be thought of. So P by 2 is applied here, and at the same time you can see that P by 2 is applied on this side also. So P by 2 here and P by 2 on this side, that is what is applied. So total actually is P applied. If you write here, you have to write like this P, and then somewhere here it is P by 2 and P by 2. So this situation is same like this. P here, and from both sides it is P by 2, P by 2. So P here, both sides P by 2, P by 2. Okay, only this is horizontal, this is vertical. But then this P we are shifting on one side because we are taking only half. So this, instead of writing his P, we are writing P by 2 here and P by 2 here. And out of that, this P by 2 is shown here and this P by 2 is shown here. Now the only thing is, where is this applied? Is it applied at the middle point? Is it applied at the middle point, or there is something else that is to be now thought of? Now to find out that, let me draw some maybe different sketch here. I am drawing this figure again, slightly larger. This is P by 2, and on this side also it is P by 2. The only thing is where it is to be drawn. Incidentally, this is D by 4. This height is D by 4 from the, it is of course half of that because it is a center line. Then this is D1. This size is D1. Okay, this is center line. So this is half of D1. This is D1 by 2. This is D4 by 2. From here, D1 by 2, D4 by 2. Now where the force is applied? Now here the rule says that because it is a part like this, the distribution of force is not equal. It is having some taper shape. Like this. So this P by 2 applied from here is uniform all over, whereas this P by 2 that is applied on this side, it is going to reduce towards the end, and at the end it will be 0. So the distribution of this load is like a reduced shape it is. The distribution is having a taper shape, the distribution is having a straight shape here. Now, if P2 has to be shown here, it is to be shown at a distance which will be like this, and where it is acting at the center of gravity of this triangle. This is acting, P by 2 is acting at the center of gravity of this. Now, because this is a rectangle, this is easy to show. It is acting at a distance half. So you can say that this is D1 by 4, because this is D1 by 2, this is D1 by 4. Whereas here in this case, this distance will be how much? That you have to find, and in that you have to add this D1 by 2. For a triangle, for any triangle, if you draw any triangle, then where is the center of gravity of the triangle? Suppose I draw one triangle like this. Now for this triangle, suppose this height is x. then the CG, wherever it is, that CG will be having a distance x by 3. CG of the triangle will be at a distance of x by 3. In this direction also, if this is y, this will be y by 3. That is the rule. So if that is the case, then whatever is this distance, this is going to be 1/3 of this distance. So what is this distance? This distance is d4 by 2 minus d1 by 2. d4 by 2 is this much minus d1 by 2. That is the distance. And then 1/3 of that. So I'll write here d4 by 2 minus d1 by 2 and 1/3 of that. This is the distance and 1/3 of that distance is this. Okay. So now we know this, but we want to now, 1 minute, I have to create some space so that we'll write this further. Okay, so I'll draw this same sketch again. This is the center line. So one force is acting here. This is P by 2. This is this P by 2, and the distance here is already decided, d1 by 4. So at a distance of d1 by 4, P by 2 is acting like this on this quarter. And on this side, this is other P by 2 acting at what distance? This plus d1 by 2. So this distance from here to here is d1 by 2 plus this 1/3 of So I have written this 1/3 of d4 by 2 minus d1 by 2 here plus this distance, because this and this, that is the total distance. This is d1 by 2, this is 1/3 of this, and this is the total. So distance from here to here is this. So on a part like this, one force is acting this way, other force is acting this way. So the moment is this force into this distance minus this force into this distance. So now you write that moment is equal to, this is larger, so I'll write here P by 2 into this minus P by 2 into this. So effectively I can take P by 2 out, and now the distance is d1 by 2 plus 1/3 of d4 by 2 minus d1 by 2. So I have taken one distance minus this d1 by 4. So one distance minus other distance. One distance is this, other distance is this. So one distance minus other distance is like this. So moment created by this, it will try to bend it this way, and this is going to bend it the other way. So the net moment is this moment minus this moment. So P into this minus P into this. So this is the value of total moment. Okay. So all this P, D1, D4, etc. everything is there. Maybe if you want, you can simplify this also. So after doing that, you are going to get the value of M, because all other things are there with you. So having known M, now coming to the main equation, that is, now I'll solve here. Now the rest of the problem I will solve here. So we know that M upon Z is equal to Ft. This Ft is the induced stress. This is a stress which is going to be induced, which we want to check whether it is less than the given design stress. This is already given to us as 80. So whether this answer is less than 80 or not, that is what we have to check. Out of that, this M is this M. I'll write here M maximum. So this M is this M. We have found out. Now what is Z? Z is the section modulus of this cross section. You know the cross section is B by T. So for a cross section like this, B by T cross section, and neutral axis is here. Neutral axis is here. What is going to be the section modulus here? So Z is equal to I upon Y. And what is I here? I here is T into B cube by 12. T, the dimension along the axis, T is parallel to neutral axis. So the dimension which is parallel to neutral axis is taken once, and the dimension which is perpendicular to neutral axis, it is taken cube. So TB cube by 12, that is the I for this section, and Y is the distance which is maximum away from neutral axis. So in this case it is B by 2. So when you find out I upon Y, then Z becomes TB square by 6. TB square by 6. Why? Because you say TB cube by 12 divided by B by 2. So if you solve this, it becomes this. TB square by 6. So you know Z, you know M. So M is this, Z is this, and it is all containing the given value. So everything you know. So this M upon Z, everything you know. So you can find out M, you can find out Z, you can divide them and find out the value of stress. That is the stress which is induced because of this bending action, and that bending stress we want it to be less than 80. If it is so, that means bending stress is not exceeding and this will be safe, it will not bend. But suppose for some reason it is not less, it is more. The design stress is 80 and your induced stress is, let's say, 85 or something higher than 80. That means it is failing. So now we want to change the dimension what you have already obtained and bring it down to 80. Now how you will change it? For changing the value, what you have to do is you have to increase Z. If you increase Z, then you will be able to reduce FT. Or maybe you have to reduce M. But this M you cannot reduce because all these sizes are already final. So how can you reduce the value of, how can you increase the value of Z? You can increase the value of Z by increasing B or T. This is B and this is T. If you increase T, what will happen? If you remember, in the calculations many times we have drawn a section like this as a resisting area. So if you increase the thickness T, then the shaded area will be reduced and that will cause a failure. So don't increase thickness and don't try to create any area unsafe. So if you increase thickness, the area will be in risk. So don't do that. So instead of increasing T, you can increase B. So this B can be increased such that when you make it square, it will be even more, and such that you will be able to increase Z, and once you increase Z, this value will come down if it is not less than 80. If it is more than 80, then make some change in B and it will be brought below the design stress. And once you do that, you can say that this is checking of quarter for bending. You can say that quarter is safe in bending. If this is the case, less, then below that you write quarter is safe in bending. That means you have designed the quarter, considering shear failure, found out the dimensions, and then because there was one more way of failure also existing, we have checked the stresses that are developed because of this other way of failure, and these stresses which were found out by this equation M upon Z equal to Ft, these stresses, that is bending stress, if it is less than the given stress, then this factor is safe. That means it will be not failing, not going to fail in bending. So that is how the entire exercise is carried out. So we have this time seen how to design a quarter joint. In that we have first seen how to design the spigot end, then we saw how to design the socket end, then we saw how to design the quarter, and after after completing the design, we have checked this quarter for bending analysis. So now this completes the exercise. Now when you do this exercise, at that time what you have to do is, first you have to draw the sketch like this without any actual dimensions, because they are not there, we have not yet designed. So draw the sketch and show these unknowns D1, D2, D3 like that. Then you do the write-up, all what work we have done, that is coming in the form of a write-up. So write everything, write all the calculations, the sketches etc. are also very very important. Without sketches this write-up is incomplete. So draw the sketches whenever required like what is drawn, so that you are showing the description and you are showing how the different values are obtained, D1, D2 etc. Once the values are obtained, the design is complete. Now it is a time to make this assembly. How you will make this assembly? For making this assembly you have to make these parts. So these three parts you have to make. How you will make these three parts? You have to refer to some drawing. So you have to prepare a detailed drawing of spigot, you have to prepare a detailed drawing for socket, you have to prepare a detailed drawing for quarter. So all the three drawings of the three parts you have drawn, and to these drawings you have to mention what is D1, D2 etc. So that whoever is making that part, that person will be able to see the drawing and the person will be able to make the drawing. For that what the person requires? Detailed drawing. What the detailed drawing consists of? It consists of the figure, it consists of all the dimensions that are required to be known to the manufacturer, and it also requires what else? It requires part number. So you can call part number 1 spigot, part number 2 socket, part number 3 quarter. So the number of the part, the name of the part, and the quantity and the material. So when you draw the figure, suppose you have drawn let's say this figure. This is the figure of spigot you have drawn. So below this spigot you write, first you write part number 1, and then you write here the name of the part spigot, then material MS and quantity 1. So figure, part number, name of the part, material and quantity. So this becomes one detailed drawing. Like that second detailed drawing, the part number is 2, the drawing of the part which is socket, then the name of the part is socket you have to write, and below that you have to write the material which is again MS, and below that you have to write a quantity which also is 1. Then the third figure, this figure, we write all these things. So you have drawn 3 drawings and their detailed information. So wherever this drawing will go, to whichever place for manufacturing, that person will be able to make this part as per the drawing and as per the other information written here. So like that all the 3 parts will be made by referring to the detailed drawings, and after that you have to assemble these 3 parts. So while assembly you require assembly drawing,